Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Mr. Yurko here. Today we're gonna create some CAD castles. We're in our OnShape accounts right now, and you can see right now at the OnShape home screen. Once you've signed into your account, you can see you've got your Create, My OnShape, and other folders on the left-hand side, and we've got your name over here on the upper right-hand side with your App Store and Learning Center. We're gonna go ahead and click that drop down button on the create menu, and we're going to create a new document. We're going to go ahead and call this new document, put your name here, and then we're going to call it CAD Castles. I'm going to use all caps. And once we create that document, the OnShape is going to open up the 3D space. And you can see now that I've got my 3D coordinate axes here in the center. This little dot right here is the center of the OnShape universe. That's 0, 0, 0 on our coordinate planes. And then we have the front plane, the right plane, and the top plane. The front plane is like the back wall of your bedroom where you can paint and hang your posters. The top is actually like the floor of the room. So when you're looking at the top, you are at the ceiling looking straight down at what's going on below you. And the right is the actual right side of the cube, of the right wall of the room. And if I click on the right button, you can see that right floor, right wall. The cubes up here in the upper right hand corner will let you manipulate the object to manipulate space to those specific named views. And the little corners of the cubes, if you see the quick corners of the cubes, that'll put you into isometric views where you can see 3D space exactly evenly. So you get to see 3 sides of the cube all distributed evenly. If I click any of the named locations, it's going to flip me to that named location. So we're going to start in the standard viewpoint, which is with the top, front, and right in isometric position. And now we're going to go ahead and create our first sketch. In order to sketch on here, I need a sheet of paper to sketch on. That sheet of paper is called a sketch, and the sketch button working from the upper left towards the right is right here in the upper left. So when you look for tools up here, the most commonly used tools are going to be found up here on the upper left, and the least commonly tools are going to be working their way across to the right. So the very first thing, the most common tool of all, is the sketch button. So I'm going to click the sketch button right here, and then we'll go ahead and choose a plane to work on. So for the sake of just getting this thing started, I'm going to go ahead and click the front button, and then we'll click the front plane. And if I want to, I can turn off the view of those other planes to make for a clean work environment. Now you can also hit the P key on the keyboard to turn those on and off, because that will do the exact same thing. All right, well, so let's go ahead and sketch our first object. Up here in the toolbar, you'll see that there is a corner rectangle tool, and there's also the center point rectangle tool. You see that they have shortcut keys listed on the right hand side. So if I tap the letter G, I'll get the corner rectangle tool will pop up. And if I tap the letter R on my keyboard, the center point rectangle will pop up. So first we're going to start with a G tool, a corner rectangle, and we're going to draw a rectangle across the window and make a nice big one. And that's all there is to it to get started. So if I want to give this section, this sketch, a name, I can. So I'm going to call it main. I have my caps lock key on. I like having the names of my stuff all in caps. It makes things easier later when we go to make drawings. So right now we've just created a rectangle. It's in 3D space. Now if you're wondering how I'm getting the space to rotate so freely, easily, I'm holding onto the right mouse button on my mouse, and the scroll wheel on the mouse allows me to zoom in and out, and as well the scroll wheel, if I push down on it, click on it like it's a button, I can use that to pan the camera around to move things in 3D space. So let's go ahead and get back to my top front right view button, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn this rectangle into a 3D object. So remember that we work from left to right. The upper leftmost tool was the sketch button. The next tool is the extrude button. So I'm going to click the extrude button, and we'll click on the space that we want to extrude, and I can pull that to whatever distance I want. Now here I've got it stretched out to be pretty darn big, and you can see that there the value changes to, if I want a precise measurement, say instead of 15.12, I want 15 exact, I just type in 15, hit the enter key, and there it stays exactly 15. If I want to edit the name of it, just call that main. Here you go. Hit the green check mark to finish the sketch, or finish the extrusion. And now over here in the browser you can see that we have a sketch. I'm going to double click on it to this called main, and it is just a plain old rectangle. And then if I double click on the second word main here, that's my extrusion, and it's also called main. So here we have at it. If I want to give this part some color, let's say I want to make this look like something else, I can right click on the part name here on the left, because you can see that once we created a part, we now have a part down here. I'm going to right click on it, we'll edit appearance. I'm going to pick light gray. I'm going to make this the CAD Castle. Alright, there we have it. There's our first block. Next step, we're going to go ahead and make this block hollowed out. So I'm going to click the sketch button, click on the top of the rectangle, and I'm going to hit the top plane on my cube. I can also hit the N, like Nancy, E on the keyboard, to view normal to that surface. We'll draw a new rectangle. We'll draw it just inside the old rectangle. And then we're just going to call it, just for the sake of giving it a name, we're going to call that hole. This hole will now represent the inside walls, and I'm going to pull that just like I did before using the extrude key. I'm going to click that surface, and I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to push it all the way through, just because I want to. And we're going to click the remove button, and that's actually going to make walls with no floor. If I want to keep the floor, I just don't push it all the way through. Now, so there you go. And I'm just going to call that hole, just so that you can see that they go together. So here you have the main sketch was our first rectangle. The main extrusion was our first extrusion. Our whole sketch is that second rectangle, and our whole extrusion is that second extrusion. Now I'm going to go ahead and just repeat this process over and over again until I get myself a castle. I'm thinking, how am I going to turn this into a castle? Well, let's have some fun with it. First, I'm going to go ahead and create a new sketch, and this one I'm going to go ahead and put that sketch on the bottom here, and then I'm going to view it from the top, and instead of using the rectangle tool, this time I'm going to use the circle tool. And we'll go ahead and grab those circles, and we can make those all the same size if I want, or close to it is good enough. click on these inside corners. We'll draw 4 circles. And hit that finish sketch button. Drew that, and those circles were drawn on the floor of my castle. And now we're going to hit the extrude button. And click all 4 sections. From the top. And we're going to grab that arrow and pull up. So I want to take the sections. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Then check that. From the bottom, make sure I get those. And just that. There you go. And now I have, what do we call those, turrets? I think that's what they're called. I will remember for sure. Okay, let's rename that sketch. Right click and rename, call it turret. All right, now let's go ahead and sketch again. This time I'm going to sketch on top of the cylinders. And we're going to make those hollow. So let's find the center of that circle. And I know that I'm centered when you see the little bullseye icon next to my mouse. There's a little bullseye. That's the symbol for concentric circle. I'm not going to change that. I'm just going to sketch and then the lower right corner here, and we'll extrude that again. Remember, the extrude button is right up here. You'll notice that it says Shift E. I can hit Shift E on the keyboard to get that tool out as well. And we'll grab all 4 of the circles that I want to pick, and we're going to click remove, and we'll drag that hole down. Now we'll just drag it down part way. And right about, let's go here. Alright, now let's go ahead and add a door to our castle. We're going to add the sketch button again. We're going to click on the face of the object, and we're going to use our rectangle tool again, and we'll draw that same corner rectangle, and I'm just going to click on the edge of the circle of the bottom and drag it up. And if I want to combine, I can actually get to give it an arch door. Let's go ahead and click center point circle. Find the center point, you'll see right there. And then click on the edge there. And now I can hit the check mark, and we're going to extrude that. Again, using the extrude tool here in the upper left. Click on the arch, click on the arch, click on that, click remove. Push it through far enough that it goes in and makes it removable, and then we'll just call that door and hit the check mark, and now I'm starting to get my castle. So I want bricks and stuff to go around the outside to make it look all castle-y. Sure, why not? We're going to hit that sketch button again, hit on the walls, turn normal to that plane. Get that rectangle tool again, and we'll draw a series of rectangles that's in line with each other. If I touch the rectangles, then you'll see a little. If you see here, I can touch the rectangle without clicking. I'll get a little alignment tool to let me make them even with each other. That lines up. So cool deal. Have some fun with this, and repeat as many times as you want until you get what you're looking for. And this time I'm going to hit that green check mark, and we're going to extrude again. If I want to, I can extrude in multiple directions. So let's go ahead and click add, and we're going to pick second end position, and we'll click our all of our little rectangles. And now if we want, we can have that go in both directions so that it's not just in one direction. Let it stick out a little bit that way, a little bit less this way. We can pull that in both directions. If I want to create a channel for the guards to walk back and forth across the wall there, we can do that too. We'll just get like a sketch, put it on top of the rectangle, look at it from the top view. Grab a rectangle tool. Put it right. Remember, the scrolling of the wheel on the mouse makes this a whole lot easier, so you can zoom in and out as needed. Finish that sketch, and so we're going to go ahead and extrude that. Click the extrude button, click that rectangle, make sure you get all your spaces. Click the remove button, and you push pull to whatever height you want. And check mark, there is your walkway path for your guards. So this is how you make a castle using only the sketch and extrude tools. And I want you to go ahead and play, have fun with this. Try to make at least 20 features on your castle. Just keep repeating until you got something you're happy with. Don't freak out. Have fun. As always, it'll be awesome.